Well, joining me now is Jeremy Newmark. Jeremy is the leader of Hertsmere Borough Council. Jeremy, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Rob.
Jeremy, welcome to the programme. What's your reaction to today's figures?
Well, it's not unexpected. 112 of those incidents last year took place within the county of Hertfordshire, the vast majority within our own borough, the district of Hertsmere. We certainly saw and experienced a huge uptick together with other parts of the country after the Hamas attacks on southern Israel, the massacre on the 7th of October. And this had huge impact upon our Jewish community, which is one of the largest in the country. And more broadly, it had a detrimental effect on local community relations.
There's a very vibrant Jewish community across Hertsmere, of course. But the story here, I mean, the numbers are quite stark because when children are being targeted on their way to shul, I mean, it's very worrying.
It is. And, the fact that generally in Hertfordshire, we've performed a little bit better, for want of a better way of putting it, to the national trend, whereas this time we do seem to have, at least in percentage terms, evened up with Greater London and Greater Manchester, and that's incredibly disturbing.
Jeremy, do you put this down to what we're seeing unfolding in the Middle East? Is it a direct consequence of that?
I think it is. We always see a spike in anti-Semitic incident figures locally when there is a crisis in the Middle East. On this particular occasion, due to the intensity of the crisis, that uptick has been more pronounced than normal. On a positive note, I would say that certainly the latest briefings we've had from Hertfordshire Police are that levels of incidents in this area, perhaps in contrast to London and Manchester, are starting to return to the pre-October the 7th baseline. Having said that, there shouldn't be a baseline for anti-Semitic incidents in a county like Hertfordshire. That baseline should be zero. Our local Jewish communities, our children attending Jewish schools, and so on, should be able to live their lives without fear of attack or abuse.
We saw something similar after 9/11. A lot of my Muslim friends were saying they felt really victimized in some way as a consequence of that, and they hadn't played no part in that. And again, it seems that we're seeing the same thing with the Jewish community as we look at these figures.
Yes, I mean, there's a sort of classic anti-Semitic trope of collective responsibility, holding all Jews responsible for the acts of individuals. And in this case, whatever one may agree or disagree with the policies of the Israeli government, the notion of, as we had in one incident, cars driving through Jewish neighborhoods screaming abuse at members of the Jewish community and supposedly justifying that by the actions of the state of Israel. I mean, this is absolutely pure, naked anti-Semitism. There's no way this can be dressed up as legitimate political commentary in any sense at all.
Jeremy, as the leader of Hertsmere Borough Council, as a local authority, what can you do to try and combat this?
Well, we've been working really hard, particularly with our community relations team, to look to de-escalate this problem. We've done some really groundbreaking work bringing together leaders of Jewish, Muslim, other faith communities. We did this immediately after the 7th of October. We had a joint statement from the leaders of all of those faith communities appealing for calm, appealing for people to be sensible, rational, and effectively not to export the conflict from the Middle East onto the streets of our borough. That has been our objective. And I think, as I say, the numbers starting to return to baseline seem to indicate that that is a successful strategy. On top of that, we work very closely with the police, with the Community Security Trust, who put this report out today, and with our local communities, particularly the Jewish and Muslim communities, to ensure that basic security infrastructure is in place. We have had patrols of police and CST working jointly on our streets. As a local council, we're about to launch a new community enforcement team who will actually provide another layer of this sense of safety and help to chip away at the sense of sort of chill and vulnerability, because in many ways, what isn't reflected in the actual numbers in the report, which refer to incidents is the wider disruption caused to the community by this sense of vulnerability, the chill factor. We had sort of young Jewish families telling us they were afraid to go out with their children in the immediate aftermath of October the 7th. So on top of those sort of hard categorized incidents, there is a much broader chill factor that also needs to be dealt with.
Jeremy, thank you for joining us. Jeremy Newmark, leader of Hertsmere Borough Council.